welcome on board Mr. Dilip Piramal, the chairman of VIP Industries, to chat about the earnings, the future roadmap as well. Mr. Piramal, thank you so much for coming on board. Just want to understand, what led the strong volume growth in the fourth quarter, and more importantly, how are you planning to sustain this momentum?
Well, the volume growth has been there throughout the entire year. In fact, in the first half, we had volume growth of nearly 25%. And however, what was disappointing in the last quarter was that while our volume growth was very good, we had 25% volume growth. Our sales growth was only 20%. And this was due to the fact that the big part of the volume growth came from the lower end, where the weighted average of the product is definitely lower. And also it affected our margins quite badly. The last quarter was one of the worst quarters we have had in the last few years. But the good part is that the margins are showing an improvement in the current quarter. So we feel that regarding the volumes in the current year, it is a bit uncertain. There is no doubt that the long span of the elections has disrupted sales to some extent, and it is across all sectors, as we can see in the automobile sector, which is a very sort of like a barometer of the industry. But there is an expectation that now that the elections are over, things will revive, and the marriage season is quite strong, and that is a very relevant season for us, particularly in the east. And there are a lot of auspicious dates now in the remaining part of this quarter, that is the months of May and June. So we do hope that things should brighten up. And about the rest of the year, let us see. I think we are growing at a 20% growth rate. I think we should at least achieve that, both in volumes as well as in sales value.
Right. When we just look at the consumption trends or what's happening in terms of consumption, what is the sense that you get in terms of post-elections? Do you think it's always a phenomena that after elections you see more demand coming up, or this time around it's a little different?
I think this time around was a bit different because it was quite spread out. And also what had happened was that the election commission, people were very strict about the carrying of money. So people were not even, they were reluctant to even take 1 lakh rupees around with them, because they were liable to be searched and questioned. So, and there is a lot of cash in our economy, at least at up to 1 or 2 lakhs. It affects both the buyers as well as the trade. So I think because the underlying strength of the economy is there, and of course the coming year the monsoon predictions also are not so strong. Let us see. Now it's too early to say, and if there is some uncertainty regarding the government formation and all, then things might be affected a little bit, but I think in 2 weeks' time things will become much clearer.
Piramal, talking about the various segments that you have, can you tell us what's the growth that you've seen in the entry-level brands vis-a-vis higher-end products, and how is it the product mix is likely to shape up going forward as well? What are you doing to push a certain segment over the other, if at all?
The good part is that all our brands are growing, and we never try to push one segment over the other. In fact, our approach is always that all our brands should grow, all the segments should grow, and let the market decide. So we leave it to the market forces. Wherever the demand is, we fulfill that. Of course, there is no doubt that at the entry level, which is where we feel that we get, where people migrate or graduate up from the unorganized sector to the organized sector, the demand has been very good ever since GST was levied. We find that there is the demand in this segment is very high. But the demand in all the segments are very good.
New launches, the way you have changed the face of various brands in the company, new areas, new segments, is that the key focus going ahead as well? Will that drive, market share gains versus what others are doing?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we work in all the directions, in all brands, all products, and all trade channels. The number, in fact, in the last 20 years, if you ask me, the biggest change in India in consumer products has been the change in the retailing. The retail sector has absolutely been revolutionized in the last 10-15 years. And we are we are addressing all the channels, and all our brands, products are aligned with the channels.
Okay, Mr.
So
Piramal,
that is why we've had very good growth sales.
good to know that, Mr. Piramal.
Very good.
And all the very best with respect to your future growth. We're a little pressed on time, would have chatted a little more otherwise. Thank you so much for coming on board. Let's